Right now, Disney's main competitor is Tom Cruise and Skydance/Paramount, and exactly what they are doing with, of course, the Mission Impossible franchise and everything coming forward with them. And what's really looming as well for what Tom Cruise is about to do with his SpaceX project. We've talked about this before, where Cruise is actually planning to go way up into space, and how Disney views him and others as a main competitor now. This is MikeZero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at MikeZero1. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And without further ado, let's get right into the subject. Now, we know that there's been a lot of things happening with Harrison Ford, Steven Spielberg, James Mangold, who, by the way, are heavily upselling this film and promoting it. But by far, one person that has downplayed the movie quite a number of times is Harrison Ford. And I think that's just because of how Ford really is in his own nature. He really seems to come across as, very grumpy at times on camera, as if he doesn't really care about what's going on, no matter what's being, questioned toward him. He did the same exact thing, by the way, with Episode 9. But when we look at everything related to Star Wars as a whole for Harrison Ford, he really didn't cater to the character of Han Solo, and almost the same exact thing applies here with Indiana Jones. I mean, it almost comes across like he wasn't fully invested in the role or fully excited to return. Now, with that being all said and done, what's interesting about all of this moving onwards is exactly what he had to say that exposes Kathleen Kennedy about a crucial segment of Indiana Jones 5 and the production drama that was going on behind closed doors. So with those like Harrison Ford and Phoebe Waller-Bridge as the main stars promoting Indy 5, Harrison had quite a number of things to unveil that essentially exposes Kathleen Kennedy. Harrison delivered the following to the fans. I remember talking things over with Kathy after they were going over all these different endings they were working on, and one of them that she completely scrapped early on was going to be like this reunion thing between me and Short Round by Ke Huy Quan. And doing this reunion was a big thing in development. Spielberg likes to call him Wan Lee, but I like to call him Short Round. But Ke Huy Quan was planned to be in this film. We had a whole ending mapped out for that, and I really wanted to make that work. But Kathy felt it was a flawed vision from Spielberg and Mangold at the time. She just wanted to go with a basic emotional send-off for the ending. I remember her talking it over with James, that including too many cameos would only be a disservice to the fans and would take away from the story. Which, hey, listen, I can understand, but Shorty, why not Shorty? He's so popular, There were many creative choices and issues going on with that between herself, James, and Steven, and it was just a whole thing that was going on for months. So let me just stop here for 1 second. Now, about what Harrison Ford is putting out here about Shorty, aka Short Round, not being in this movie, and how it was a thing in discussion, and how Kathleen Kennedy sabotaged it, it goes to show you that they look absolutely foolish right now, Disney. Basically, what they did was they excluded a now Oscar-winning actor that could have been in Indiana Jones 5. Guys, I'll say this and I'll say this again. I think that if they knew, or if everybody knew that Shorty was back, there would have been a lot more fans checking out this film, and it would have definitely gotten more repeat viewings because of how well his movie Everything Everywhere succeeded at the box office, succeeded at the Oscars and the fan reception, stuff like that. They could have had him. They could have easily had him on board, even at last minute. If they really wanted to do that, they could have done that, but they didn't. And that was all because of Kathleen Kennedy. She felt, like he said, that too many cameos would be a disservice to Indiana Jones fans and to non-fans alike. And look, here's the thing about Kathleen Kennedy, alright, is that we know that she always likes to play things very carefully when it comes to choosing an ending. Basically, she never really knew, and Harrison touches on this, she never really knew how to end Episode 9. This is why they bounced back and forth between Ben and Rey should live and walk into the sunset on Tatooine, or, maybe they should both die, or maybe Rey should die and Ben should be the one that lives on. They really did not know what to do. And so Kathy, chose and pushed J.J. Abrams to just do a very strict, safe ending where we got what we got in episode 9. So the same exact thing follows here, where she didn't really put that much effort into this. Now, moving onwards, he goes on to elaborate further, but the endings that we did end up shooting in full bounced around quite a bit. It was just like what happened with the last Star Wars film. Kathy wasn't really sure which ending to pursue, so she figured she'd play it safe, I guess, and gravitate toward what the regular moviegoer would connect with. She didn't really want to just think about indie fans, because many non-indie fans probably didn't know Shorty, or Henry Jones, or Willie, or anything like that. So she decided to keep it down to one cameo that's very relatable to everybody, even non-indie fans. And I think that may have been the one big mistake with this film, that it needed to take us back a bit more to where it all started, since this is a love letter to the Indiana Jones franchise. I value James for giving me this role, but you can always do better, you know, so there's that. Now, here's the thing about Harrison Ford, is that he has exposed Kathleen Kennedy several times in the past with Episode 9 and The Force Awakens, stuff like that, about what she did and did not want to do behind the scenes for those movies, and here's the latest and shining example that she just does not look out for the indie fans. She's just looking out for what makes the most sense, what's going to be the most relatable thing to non-indie fans, people that are just checking out this movie as a popcorn flick. And I think that's, like he said, a very big fatal flaw. It really is. If you had, for example, Shorty and Henry Jones coming back, which, by the way, they did plan on doing that. We talked about that and what was happening behind the scenes. One of the original endings did involve a vision of Henry Jones inside of a biplane, looking over to actual Indiana Jones, father and son, a send-off. And think about it this way, guys. I mean, when you look at Indiana Jones 5, the box office is now strictly sitting at $171 million worldwide, and that's really not impressive at all in the least. It had a lot to do with the fact that there wasn't a lot of passion going into this movie. Mangold, you can tell, is not a die-hard Indiana Jones fan. You can tell that. You can most definitely see that through and through. And when you look at Kathleen Kennedy, you know, they really gave her way too much money on investing roughly $300 million into this thing that is literally not even worth that much. You can tell that there's a lot of uncompleted CGI sequences in here. There's a lot of scenarios where the writing and the dialogue is just flat out horrible. And it really, you know, brings you to one's attention that this movie really could have been so much better had they limited their budget and followed a better decision-making process of what's the best route to go, what's not the best route to go, and take it from there. I feel like that they really rushed this movie, and that's why there were some reshoots here and there. Nothing extremely major, but there were reshoots that did take place multiple times. And it may be the reason why this movie at times feels like it's going in multiple different directions, or, you know, it feels like something's missing, something like that. So I think at the end of the day, Kathleen Kennedy is not fit for Star Wars, for Indiana Jones, not fit for anything by Lucasfilm, period, the end. So we've seen this happen with Willow as well. It's why they canceled the series on Disney Plus, and why that's never going to see the light of day as well ever again. So guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.